The Galactic Council's mistake. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with silver light, its walls covered in banners from 1,000 alien empires. Every race that claimed power in the stars had sent their leaders. The air buzzed with voices, arguments, and the sound of prideful laughter. At the center stood the High Speaker, a towering insectoid creature with crystal wings. His voice echoed like thunder. Today we speak of Earth. That small world on the edge of the spiral arm. A murmur rolled across the hall. The word Earth always carried tension. Some aliens hissed, others smirked. Many simply waved their claws or tendrils in dismissal. They are a danger, the High Speaker declared. They spread too fast, they fight too hard, and they do not bow to order. An avian diplomat screeched from his perch. Humans are violent animals born on a death world. They should never have been allowed into the stars. Laughter filled the chamber, sharp and cruel. A scaled reptilian overlord added, "Their history is nothing but blood. War after war, slaughter after slaughter. If left unchecked, they will bring that chaos to us all." The vote was called, and it was almost unanimous. One by one, the voices of the council joined together. Extermination. Removal. Genocide. Only a few weak protests rose, tiny empires who had traded with humans or admired their stubborn courage, but their voices were drowned beneath the chorus of fear and arrogance. The High Speaker struck his staff upon the floor. "Then it is agreed. Humanity shall be erased. Their world will burn. Their fleets will be broken. Their memory will be dust." Cheers erupted, savage and satisfied in that moment. The Galactic Council believed they had solved the galaxy's greatest threat. They believed they were safe. But in the shadows of the chamber, a few alien leaders whispered uneasily. One of them, a gray-skinned elder with fading eyes, leaned close to his neighbor. "You fools," he murmured. "Do you even know what you are provoking?" The neighbor laughed, dismissing the warning. "They are only humans, a primitive species who think themselves strong. Against the weight of the galaxy, they are nothing." The elder shook his head slowly. "You mistake silence for weakness. Do not forget, Earth is a death world. Nothing born there survives by chance." Meanwhile, far away from the council, on the quiet blue planet they had just condemned, Earth remained silent. No protest came, no message of fear, no begging for mercy. The humans heard the declaration of genocide and simply watched. Alien ambassadors in human space reported strange things. Factories shutting down in silence. Shipyards closing their gates. Trade stations going dark, it seemed, to the galaxy. That Earth was finally broken. That humanity had accepted its fate, and yet, some began to notice details that did not fit. Entire fleets of civilian transports disappeared into the void, never arriving at their destinations. Colony outposts cut their transmissions, their signals replaced with encrypted silence. Deep space beacons that once marked human territory went dark. One by one, the galaxy laughed at first, calling humans cowards hiding from their fate. But a few sharp minds saw something else. They whispered in private halls, "This is not surrender. This is preparation." Back in the council chamber, the High Speaker raised his wings in triumph. "Let this day be written in the annals of the stars," he proclaimed. "The day the galaxy chose safety over chaos, order over savagery. Humanity will be forgotten." The council cheered. Believing their decision final, they celebrated their own wisdom, blind to the storm they had just awakened. For far beneath the quiet oceans of Earth, in hidden cities carved into mountains, for deep within the black shipyards orbiting silent moons, for secret bases buried in asteroids where no alien eye had ever seen, humanity was not preparing to beg for life. They were preparing their answer, an answer no empire could predict, an answer that would echo across the stars with fire and terror. The mistake of the Galactic Council was not the vote. It was not even the laughter. It was the arrogance. They believed humans would bow. They believed Earth would break. But Earth had heard their words, and Earth would answer in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to show the galaxy what true monsters looked like. The hall of the council roared with victory songs. Banners waved and alien voices cried out in triumph. Yet above all that sound, if one had listened closely, one could almost hear the heartbeat of Earth, steady, patient, dangerous, waiting. The galaxy had just made its greatest mistake, and it would not be long before the stars learned the price of provoking a world like Earth. Shadows in the void. The first fleet vanished without a trace. 30 ships had left the docks of the Zirath Empire. Their mission simple: patrol the edge of human space and show strength. They never returned. The Zirath commanders laughed at first, assuming human raiders had struck and fled, but when they searched the route, they found nothing but broken hulls, ships torn apart, engines melted as if struck by a fire no one could understand. Not a single distress call had been sent. Whispers began in the dark corners of the galaxy. Something hunts in the void, the merchant said. Something with no name, the smugglers whispered. But the council dismissed it, calling it rumor, calling it fear. Soon a second fleet was dispatched. Larger and better armed, 200 ships. Proud banners shining. They entered human space and vanished just as completely as the first. Only one wreck drifted back, a cruiser scarred with deep, black burns that pulsed faintly. The salvage crews who examined it swore the marks looked like claws far larger than anything nature had made. Fear spread like poison. On trading stations, whispers grew louder. Humans are not hiding, they said, they are hunting. But no one could prove it. No one dared to speak such words inside the council. Then came the survivor, a lone alien officer, pulled from an escape pod drifting between the stars. His body was broken, half his face burned, but his voice still carried terror. In a trembling whisper, he told his story. They came from the dark, their ships black as the void itself. They did not speak. They did not send warnings. They moved like predators, faster than anything we have seen, and when they struck, it was not war, it was slaughter. The chamber where he spoke fell silent. The officer's last words sent a chill through every heart present. You wanted monsters, he said, and now they are here. They wear human faces, but instead of listening, the council roared with laughter. They dismissed him as mad, broken by fear. The high speaker declared him a liar, saying, humans could never build ships of such power. They are primitive beasts. They only delay their death. Yet away from the grand chambers, in hidden halls and private meetings, leaders began to doubt. Reports came of human colonies that had gone silent. No signs of life, no signals, nothing but empty ground. The colonies were not destroyed, they were abandoned. Evacuated in secret, billions of humans had simply disappeared. Where had they gone? Scouts were sent deeper into human territory. One by one they vanished. A probe captured only fragments of images before it was destroyed. A shadow moving across the stars. A ship larger than anything known, black and silent. Its hull swallowing light, then nothing. Some whispered it was not technology at all, but something worse. What if the humans have become what they were accused of? What if they have become monsters? The galaxy turned restless. Merchants refused to trade with human sectors. Armies hesitated to patrol near the forbidden borders. Every shadow in space became a threat. Every silence became a warning. Meanwhile, on Earth, the silence continued. The planet still looked calm, oceans shining, cities glowing faintly from orbit, but no alien dared to land. The skies above Earth were empty. No satellites broadcasted signals. No ships entered or left the system. It was as if the humans had vanished. Yet the fear remained. For when the galaxy looked into the void, they felt watched, they felt hunted. The mistake of the Galactic Council grew heavier with each passing day. Their laughter no longer echoed as loudly. Their voices no longer carried certainty. For though they had called for genocide, it was now they who feared extinction. And still the humans said nothing. Not a single word of protest, not a single message of threat. Only silence, only shadows and whispers in the void. The galaxy had wanted monsters, and in the dark, it seemed they had gotten their wish. But the true answer was still waiting, hidden in the blackness. Waiting for the perfect time to strike, the predators of Earth were patient, and their wrath had only just begun. Humanity unleashed, the galaxy had waited. And finally, the silence broke. It began at the edge of the Orion Arm, where an alien war fleet gathered, 500 ships strong. They came prepared, armored, proud banners glowing in the starlight. Their goal was simple: invade Earth, crush its defenses, and end humanity in a single blow. The fleet moved forward with arrogance, their commanders certain of victory. They expected weak resistance, broken defenses, and scattered human ships, but what they found was something else. Something they could not explain. The void itself shifted. Black shapes slid from the darkness, silent and vast. At first, the aliens thought they were asteroids drifting through the system. Then the shadows lit with fire. Engines unlike any the galaxy had seen flared alive. Human warships appeared. Not the clumsy frigates the aliens remembered, but massive angular predators cloaked in dark alloy. Their hulls swallowed light. Their weapons glowed with deadly silence. The lead alien commander sneered, "Primitive toys. Burn them down." But before his words even faded, the first human volley struck. Beams of compressed energy ripped through alien shields as if they were made of paper. Entire cruisers shattered in seconds, torn apart before they could even raise their defenses. Panic spread through the alien lines. They fired everything they had: missiles, plasma, torpedoes. But the human ships danced through the void, weaving patterns of death. Their weapons were faster, sharper, stronger, and their silence was worse than screams. For the humans did not taunt, they did not send demands. They only destroyed. Ship after ship vanished. An alien dreadnought exploded in a single hit, its core torn open like a child's toy. The fleet that had come to exterminate Earth was now being hunted. In the command chambers of distant empires, leaders watched in horror. The humans were not defending, they were striking. Their ships did not stand guard around Earth. They surged outward into alien space, predators unleashed. One alien officer cried out as the human flagship came into view. It was a monster of steel and fire, larger than anything the galaxy had believed humans capable of. Its hull bore no symbols, no flag, only one message broadcast in cold, clear tone: "You wanted monsters? We are here." The words spread like fire across the comms. Every ship heard them. Every commander felt the weight of them. And in that moment, the galaxy understood. Humanity had never been weak. They had been waiting. The battle turned into a massacre. Out of 500 alien ships, fewer than 50 escaped. The survivors fled with shattered hulls and broken crews. They carried with them tales that spread across every empire. The humans are not prey. The humans are hunters. On the abandoned colonies, alien scouts finally uncovered the truth. The silence had not been surrender. It had been evacuation. Billions of humans had left their homes not to run, but to build. Hidden shipyards, secret forges, dark fleets waiting in silence. For decades humanity had planned while the galaxy mocked, while the council voted, while empires laughed. Earth had been preparing its answer. And now the answer had arrived, not with speeches, not with begging, but with wrath. The few survivors of the battle whispered one last chilling detail. When the humans destroyed a ship, they did not leave debris. Their weapons consumed everything, leaving only shadows. It was as if they wanted no trace left, no warning of their true numbers. How many ships did humanity have? No one knew. Some said dozens, others said thousands. But one truth spread across the stars. The humans were coming and nothing could stop them. In the dark halls of the Galactic Council, the leaders gathered again. Their proud voices were gone, replaced with fear. The High Speaker trembled as he spoke. Perhaps we underestimated them. But it was too late. The mistake had already been made. The order for genocide had been given, and now humanity had answered. Not as victims, not as prey, but as monsters. The monsters the galaxy itself had asked for. And Earth's wrath was only beginning. The wrath of Earth, the galaxy trembled. News of the massacre spread like wildfire. 500 ships erased in less than an hour. The great empires, once proud, now whispered in fear. The name humanity became a shadow, a curse, a warning. Yet still the Council refused to believe. They sent another fleet, larger than before. 1,000 ships gathered under the banners of 10 empires. It was the greatest armada the galaxy had seen in centuries. Their commanders boasted, "No matter how strong the humans are, they cannot withstand this tide." The fleet advanced toward human space, but when they reached the border they stopped. Not because of resistance, because of silence. The stars seemed empty, too empty. Sensors found nothing, no signals, no colonies, no fleets. Only the quiet pull of the void. Then it came, not from ahead, but from behind. The darkness split open, and human warships poured out like predators unleashed. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. Their hulls glimmered with the black alloy that swallowed light. Their engines burned with power stolen from the heart of stars. The alien commanders froze. No one had imagined humanity could build such numbers. No one had believed Earth had the resources. But now the proof was undeniable. The first strike fell. Entire lines of alien destroyers vanished in white fire. A wall of plasma storms rolled across the fleet, shields tearing apart like paper. In minutes, hundreds of ships were gone. The alien screamed orders: "Hold the line! Regroup! Fight back!" But there was no line. The human ships moved like hunters. Cutting through formations, they struck and vanished, reappearing where no sensor had detected them. It was not a battle, it was execution. In the command chamber of the human flagship, the voice of Earth spoke. A single broadcast carried across every channel, cold and sharp as steel. You wanted monsters, now you will see them. The words echoed into every alien heart, and as if the universe itself obeyed, the slaughter grew worse. Entire dreadnoughts, once thought indestructible, collapsed in seconds. Alien crews abandoned ships, only to be swept into the void. Every scream, every desperate plea was swallowed by silence. The galaxy watched in horror for the first time. They understood what it meant for a species to rise from a death world. Humans were not fighting for survival anymore. They were delivering wrath. Planets that had voted for humanity's destruction began to burn. Human strike teams appeared in orbit. Unleashing storms of fire, cities turned to ash. Orbital defenses fell without a sound. The children of those empires watched their skies shatter, and in their final moments, they remembered the words of their leaders. Erase humanity. But it was humanity erasing them. The council scrambled in panic. Emergency meetings were called, desperate bargains whispered. But no one could reach Earth, no envoy, no plea, no message returned. The humans had closed their doors. They spoke only through destruction, one by one. The proud empires bent their knees. The Zereth Empire surrendered entire sectors. The Varen lords burned their own fleets rather than let humans take them. Others simply fled into the deep void, abandoning their colonies to human fire. The galaxy had never seen such fury, and still no one could understand how had Earth built such power. How had they hidden for so long? Some whispered that humans had forged alliances with ancient machines. Others believed they had found weapons buried in forgotten worlds, but the truth was simpler. Humans had been underestimated, and when underestimated, they became unstoppable. At last, the survivors of the battle limped back to the council. Their fleets broken, their pride shattered. They carried one final message. A human transmission burned into their comms, impossible to erase. It was not a threat. It was not a declaration of war. It was a warning: we are not born monsters, but when you make us monsters, we do not stop. Remember this. The galaxy fell silent. Every empire that had laughed at Earth now trembled. Every leader who had mocked humanity now feared the shadows. The wrath of Earth had been written into the stars, and no one could erase it. The council realized their mistake too late. Their arrogance had opened the cage, and what came out was not prey, not victims, but predators who had finally been unleashed. The galaxy had demanded monsters, and Earth had answered. Now no one could ever forget. The final warning: the galaxy had fallen silent. Worlds that once mocked Earth now whispered in fear. The council chamber, once filled with pride and laughter, now stood heavy with shame. No banners waved, no cheers rose, only trembling voices asking the same question. What have we awakened? For the first time in history, the mighty empires bowed. Their fleets shattered, their colonies burning. Their leaders humiliated. All their power meant nothing before Earth's wrath. The Death Worlders had risen, and no one dared speak against them now. But then, as quickly as it began, the storm stopped. The human fleets, black and silent, halted at the borders of alien space. They did not invade further. They did not burn the galaxy to ash. Instead, they waited, patient and cold. It was as if humanity was holding a leash on its own fury. Confusion spread. Why stop? Why not finish the job? Then the message came. It echoed across every channel, translated into every tongue. The voice was calm, steady, without rage. It was worse than rage. We are not born monsters. You made us monsters. You tried to erase us and you failed. Now hear Earth's final warning: we strike only once. Do not test us again. The words fell like thunder across the stars. On every world, children heard it and remembered. On every ship, soldiers repeated it in whispers. On every council, leaders bowed their heads in silence. The galaxy trembled not because humans shouted, but because humans had spoken only once, and then they fell silent again. In that silence, fear grew stronger than any fleet. For the galaxy knew, if Earth struck again, there would be no survivors. Some alien rulers tried to rebuild their pride. They told their people, the humans are merciful. They stopped because they are weak. But their own soldiers did not believe them. They had seen the fire. They had watched entire armadas vanish. And they knew the truth. Mercy was not weakness. Mercy was a choice, and one day, Humanity might choose differently. Whispers spread of hidden places in the void, of shipyards still working in silence, of weapons too terrible to reveal. Some said Earth had built fleets even larger, waiting in the black. Others claimed entire stars had been turned into forges for war. No one knew the truth, and that was the greatest terror of all. In the shadows, small empires began to plot. They whispered that humanity must be struck again, this time quickly before they grew stronger. But those whispers never spread far. Every spy, every agent who spoke too loudly, vanished. No one knew how, no one dared ask. For Earth was listening, always listening, and still, in the Council's memory, one image remained. The sight of the human flagship, black and burning, standing alone against thousands, and the voice that had promised monsters. The voice that had delivered. Some began to see Earth differently, not as monsters, but as judges, a force that punished arrogance, a species that had suffered too much to bow again. And so a new name spread across the stars. Not humans, not Deathworlders, but the Wrathkeepers, those who answered violence with greater violence, those who carried silence like a blade. Generations would pass, but the warning remained carved into memory. Do not awaken Earth's wrath again. Yet deep in the void, where no sensors reached, rumors persisted that humanity had not stopped building, that secret fleets drifted between dark stars, that something even greater than the black warships was being prepared. And in the quiet chambers of Earth, leaders spoke not of peace but of preparation, for they knew the galaxy too well, they knew the Council too well, and they knew that one day arrogance would rise again. One day someone would forget, one day someone would test humanity's warning. On that day, the monsters would return, not out of hatred, not out of rage, but out of survival, because Earth had learned the oldest truth of the galaxy. Mercy is temporary. Wrath is eternal. And so the humans waited in silence. Silent as hunters, patient as predators, the galaxy slept uneasy. Every empire fearing the same nightmare. Every empire haunted by the same question. What will happen when Earth strikes again?